Bit of coffee. This is a brand new Aspect tie from British company Mason Cycles. It's a 4-season endurance disc brake road bike with a titanium frame and a carbon fork. Now it's quite pricey, that's £3,500 just for the frame set. In this video, we're running through all the lovely details on it and go for a spin and see what it's like from a ride and handling point of view. But first, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already by hitting that red button down below, and maybe go and check out our website, road.cc. Loads more reviews on there, bikes and key components, buyer's guides, and lots of news as well, so make sure you go and check it out. With all that taken care of, let's roll the intro and take a look at the bike. The new Aspect tie follows a similar line to the company's original bikes, the Resolution and Definition, which are aluminium and steel, and it has the same disc brakes and wide tyre clearance and a similar geometry and the same 4-season approach in terms of comfort and distance mile munching capability. But we have a frame built from titanium, only the company's second bike built from this material. To build their frame, they went to Italian tube supplier Dedichai and worked with them to custom shape the tubes. So we've got a nice ovalized top tube, a tapered head tube and a D-shaped down tube. The company uses its own Aperture 2 full carbon fork at the front with a nice curvy shape, and we've got full internal cable routing using the company's own multi-port system. So basically a modular system compatible with electronic that we've got here or mechanical. So it's very nicely cleanly routed down through the down tube and along the chainstay externally to the rear brake. Other details include mudguard mounts, clearance for 35mm tyres, little chain pip there so when you're taking the rear wheel out so you don't get the chain flapping around everywhere, and an external threaded bottom bracket, so no press fit creaking worries here. Very sensible design consideration. Perhaps the most interesting detail are actually the humble dropouts. Now while they went to Italy for the main frame, they actually went to Birmingham in the UK to work with Reynolds for dropouts. Now Reynolds is a company I'm sure you're aware with. They've made some of the best steel tube sets over the last many decades. So 753, 853, stainless 953 and so on. But they've been investing in the future with 3D printing technology, and the dropouts are one of the first results of this new investment. They're also working on bottom brackets and seat tube lugs and head tubes, so eventually you'll be able to build a whole frame out of Reynolds tubes and all the key junctions that join the tubes together. But for now, the dropouts are the first result of their investment, and Mason is the first company that we've seen to manufacture, not mass manufacture, but build a number of production frames using new dropouts. So they are 3D printed, which is why you have this very distinctive rough finish, which is a bit of a hallmark of 3D printing technology. You see the Reynolds logo down there. And the reason the frame took so long to come to market, because it has been a bit of a labour of love for Dom, the founder of Mason, is to get the dropouts right and to get the dropouts very neatly welded into the frame. They got very high standards at Mason Cycles and it took them a long time, but I think the results, as you'll see, are worth it. So the dropouts, as well as looking very pretty, I've seen some ugly dropouts on road bikes during my time testing bikes. These are very clean, very nice shaped. They also serve a function by having the internal routing on the drive side, and on the non-drive side, the flat mount interface for the brake caliper. We should talk about the finish. The weld quality on this frame is absolutely first class. Some of the best I've seen, and that includes the likes of Moots and other prestigious long-running titanium suppliers. The weld quality around every junction is absolutely spectacular. The frames are made in small batches, so they're not really mass manufactured, and you tell they have taken their time with the weld, so they haven't rushed it. They made it to a very high standard and definitely a cut above some of the more affordable titanium frames you can currently buy. And then there's the finish, the actual colour of the frame. Titanium, of course, has a unique colour, this sort of grey, silvery finish. But Mason have bucked a trend where most tyre frames have a sort of polished, light grey finish. They've used something called a structural surface finish, which is a fancy word for bead blasting, and gives this darker tone and slightly shot-peened, roughened texture. And then the main logos on the down tube and the back of seat tube are polished, and on a sunny day like today when the sun catches it just right, absolutely looks really nice. The only perhaps downside is that at this price you might expect a level of customization, which some titanium suppliers do in terms of the actual finish of the titanium and the colour of the logos, but there's no such customization on offer here. It's take it or leave it really. So let me know what you think of the finish and the look of this frame in the comment section below. Looking at the bike from the front, you can really see how curvy the carbon forks are and how curvy the rear stays are to maximise heel clearance and tyre clearance, and it looks really quite nice from this angle. And then you can also see the external and polished head tube logo, which is a lovely detail using the Mason Cycles logo. Now, head tubes are something that some brands don't really take much time on. They just slap a sticker on there and job done. But some brands like Mason take a bit more time, and at this sort of price you expect something a bit special, and that definitely is special. I like that. That'll make a nice keyring on its own, I think. So let's talk about money. As I mentioned, the frame and the fork on its own costs £3,500 with a range of sizes. The complete bike we have here costs £6,600 with an Shimano Ultegra Di2 group set, so electronic shifting and hydraulic disc brakes, with carbon Hunt wheels, 30mm wide Schwabe G1 tyres, Data handlebar stem, Mason carbon seat post, and a nice fabric saddle. There are other builds available. You go to the Mason Cycle website, you can see some of the range of builds they offer. But I think you're spending this sort of money on a tyre frame, you're not going to build it up with cheap components, and it's fairly representative of the sort of build you expect. I'd expect most people to go for the frame and fork and build it up with their own parts really, and put some nice spangly components on them. On the scales, this size 54 weighs about 8.3 kilograms, so pretty light for this sort of build really, a bit lighter than the average weight, which more like 8.6, 8.7, so yeah, pretty good weight. That's enough waffling about details and money. Let's go for a ride and see how it performs. The Aspect provides an exceptional ride quality with a near perfect blend of speed, comfort and handling. Thanks to a long wheelbase and slack head angle, the Aspect is incredibly stable at any speed. To borrow a car term, it feels like a grand tourer, able to cover long distance in absolute comfort. Smoothness is the name of the game here. Titanium is of course famously renowned for its smooth ride, and that much is true with the new Mason Cycles Aspect. The tyre frame, in combination with these 30mm tyres, which I've got inflated to about 60 psi, creates a wonderfully smooth ride. Rough roads, cobbles, no trouble for the bike at all, it just breezes over the top of them. It is just a sublime bike to ride, one of the smoothest bikes I've tested in quite a while. Smooth it certainly is, and comfort is one reason you buy the bike. But it's not soft. There's a hint of feedback coming through the frame and carbon fork to keep you in tune with the detail of the road surface. It really lets you know what's happening underneath the tyres. And while the stiffness isn't on a par with a carbon race bike, it still feels sharp and alert when you get in the power. There's no slouch on the climbs, and when you push on, the Aspect is certainly very capable. The Aspect really delivers on the company's aim to create a full-season ride with an engaging and punchy ride. It's fast and comfy, versatile and practical. It's very special and a joy to ride. If it's the last bike you ever own, you'll be very happy indeed. So final thoughts on the Mason Cycles Aspect type. Well, I love it. It's an absolutely splendid ride. It's smooth, it's composed and stable. Just a really comfortable bike to ride over a long distance. And it's a bike that makes you feel special. Everything on it, the way it looks, all the attention to detail, the quality of the world, those 3D printed dropouts, just a very special bike. Yes, it's a lot of money at £3,500 just for the frame and the fork, and it's definitely a considered purchase. And it should be said, at this price point, there are quite a few high-end, long-running brands like Moots who will sell you a very nice titanium frame too, and also quite a few UK brands that will sell you a much cheaper titanium frame. So there are lots of options, and perhaps not the best value for money, but there's a lot here that will win your heart over, and it's definitely a bike you buy with your heart rather than your head. So should you buy it? Yes, if you've got money, go out and buy it. You won't be disappointed at all. I'd happily ride a bike for the rest of my life. It's one of those bikes it really lives up to titanium's cliche of being a bike for life and the last bike you ever buy, and this could be the bike you would ride for the rest of your lifetime. So that's my verdict on the Mason Cycles Aspect Tie. If you can afford it, go out and buy it. But just be minded, there are plenty of more affordable titanium options that offer much of the performance that this bike does, if not some of the specialness that this bike does have in spades. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Go and check out our other bike reviews on my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again next time.